Hi guys, my name is Serena. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to talk about my May TBR, and I usually do not do monthly TBRs, I do them seasonal. But since there are two readathons that I really want to participate in, I'm going to talk about the books that I've decided to read this month. And this is going to be a really busy month, I believe, because I'm going to start studying again, because in June and July I'll have my exams. And the day after tomorrow, May 1st, I'm going to Rome for 5 days with my friends, and I'm not going to read that much, I think. So, but I really want to talk about the books that I'm planning on reading. I think there are 10. So yeah, let's just get right into it. The two readathons that I really want to participate in are the Asian Readathon and the Mental Health Readathon. The hosts for the Asian Readathon are Read with Cindy and other people. I will put them right here and down below. And for the Mental Health Readathon, the host is Nicole from A Beautiful Chaos of Books and other two people, and I will link them down below, put them right here. And yeah, let's get just right into it. I am going to search the challenges right here. I've written down all of the books that I'm planning on reading on my notebook. For what concerns the challenges for the Asian Readathon, every book that we decide to read has to be from a different Asian country. So I decided to read 5 books. I'm going to try and complete all of the challenges. The first challenge is to read a book by an Asian author, and I decided to read And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. This book is by an Afghan author. And so this is going to be for the country Afghanistan. The next challenge is to read a graphic novel that has an Asian character or was written / drawn by an Asian author. And I decided to read Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. I butchered that for sure, but this is going to be from the country Iran. And I really want to read this. I've heard good things about it. Oh, and by the way, And the Mountains Echoed, I read other 2 books by this author. I read The Kite Runner and A Thousand Splendid Suns. A Thousand Splendid Suns is one of my favorite books. I have to reread that book, but I haven't read this one yet, so I really want to read this one since I own it for a while. Third challenge is to read a book featuring an intersectional Asian character or written by an intersectional Asian identity. So that means that the character, other than being Asian, has to be queer, mixed, disabled. So we can basically include other minorities in our reading. And I decided to read Everything Here is Beautiful by Mira T. Lee. This is a story, I think, of 2 sisters. They are Chinese, and one of the sisters has schizophrenia, I think. So this is the book that I decided to read for this challenge. The fourth challenge for the Asian Readathon is to read a book that was translated from an Asian language. So basically it's a book by an Asian author that was written originally in their native language. I decided that I'm going to read The Vegetarian by Han Kang, and she is from South Korea, and this was originally written in South Korean, I think, in Korean. So I'm going to read this one. And for the last challenge is to read the group book, and the group book is 1,000 Beginnings and Endings by Ellen O. So I'm going to read that, hopefully. Those are the 5 books that I decided that I'm going to read for the Asian Readathon. And for what concerns the Mental Health Readathon, there are way more challenges, but I'm going to try and fit different books in more than one category, you know, because I cannot read 20 books this month. So we have this board, and on this board we have the group book, which is Sparrow, and I'm going to read this one. I think this is a book about depression and therapy, so I'm also going to read this book for depression and other. So Sparrow is going to cover 3 of the challenges on the board. Next, I see Own Voices, and for Own Voices, I'm going to read Under Rose-Tainted Skies, and Guys, I don't know what these books are about. I know that the author has anxiety, and agoraphobia. And the character in this book also has anxiety and agoraphobia. So this book is gonna cover the challenges to read an own voice book, a book about anxiety, and a book about a phobia, so agoraphobia. Next, there is nonfiction, and for nonfiction I decided An Unquiet Mind, and this book also has personality disorder representation and bipolar representation I read. By the way, if I'm not 100% correct about the representation in this book, I'm sorry. I searched on Goodreads, so Goodreads told me that these books have these representations, but either way, these books are definitely about mental health, so yeah. So this book is going to cover the challenges of nonfiction, bipolar representation, and personality disorder representation. Next, we have schizophrenia representation, and for this, I decided to include everything here is beautiful. Basically, I'm reading a book for the Asian Readathon and for the Mentalhealth-athon, so this book is going to cover the challenges of schizophrenia and intersectional, because the characters are Chinese. Next, we have OCD representation, and for this one, I decided that I'm going to read Am I Normal Yet? And this book is also the host pick. This was picked by Nicole. So I'm going to read this book for the challenges of, host pick and OCD representation. For the eating disorder representation, I decided to include the vegetarian for this one. This could also fulfill the challenge of intersectional, but I heard that the character in this book has eating disorders. I know that this book covers a lot of mental illnesses, but I'm just gonna say that for this representation, I'm going to read this book because I've heard that the character has eating disorder. And lastly, the book that I'm going to read for PTSD is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. I know that this book also deals, with loneliness, depression. I'm not sure, but I heard that Eleanor has had something happen to her in the past, so I've heard that she has PTSD. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but it definitely deals with mental health, so I'm going to read this book. I've acquired it lately and I really want to read it. It was recommended to me a lot of times, so yeah, those are the 10 books that I'm going to try and read this month. I'm also going to start, because I have to read this book in May and June, I'm going to start A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. And this book I have to read for the A Song of Ice and Fire readathon. That is my TBR for May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. What are you planning on reading? Are you participating in this readathons? Let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!